everyone, it's Kristin, and today we're going to make a little baby art journal together. Now, if that title sounds a little familiar, right up here I will link a video that we've already done on this channel, which is called Making an Itty Bitty Art Journal in Minutes. In that video, we bound the pages together with a wax linen thread, but we used this same paper, which, by the way, is also the paper we used to construct the pages for the Alice in Wonderland junk journal. Now, this is by Fabriano Artistico. It's 140-pound watercolor paper. That way, it's really strong and durable. And when I saw this piece of paper lying around from our Alice in Wonderland junk journal project, this, by the way, is 6 by 30, I realized I could go really lazy with this and simply fold it accordion style to have a little art journal to go. I also know that a lot of us are thinking about things we can do for the upcoming holidays, gifts from the heart, and I thought this might be a fun example of something that we can make quickly and easily to give to others. We're going to create it using watercolor inks like this. This is just a few colors combined together. I love the way that looks. We will also perhaps use traditional watercolors, but whatever you decide to do, we're simply going to create backgrounds on the front and the back first, and then fold it all up accordion style. So that's what's happening. I hope you like it. I hope you try it. If you do, please let me know on social media. I'd love to see them. And I hope you enjoy the video. As always, thanks for coming along. Don't be afraid, it's just me. I wanted to speak with you a little bit throughout this particular video because I had a lot of issues and I wanted to walk you through how I made it a lot more difficult for myself than I needed it to be. So with this idea of do as I suggest and not what you see, hopefully you'll have a much easier time with this project. Now I'm starting to create a background with watercolors. This is a Jane Davenport Bright watercolor set. It is by far my favorite watercolor set available, at least craft version wise, on the market. The colors are bold and bright and vibrant, and they just make me happy. But you can do this with anything. You can create a background with watercolors, with acrylics, with gouache, whatever you see fit. Whatever you like to play with, that's what you're going to start doing. And as you can see, a little foreshadowing here, we're blending colors together that will, in the end, make a rainbow background. But when you're working with watercolors and you're trying to blend the colors together, the easiest way to start that process is to use colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So you're going to want to start with 2, maybe 3 at the most colors and work a section at a time. As one color begins to dry, a way that you can really keep it moving is to just add water. So you're going to use a lot of watercolors, you're going to use a lot of water, and what the water will do, again, if you're using it a section at a time, is it will ensure that they blend together and that the pigments, when they're dry, have a really cool texture to them. Now we're going to keep moving down the rainbow, and of course the next color is green, but not just any green. We're blending the green in the palette with the blue we just used, and look at that color combination. It's the most gorgeous teal. I love it. So as you can see, as we take the colors and blend them together, we will then create that seamless look. And when we have enough of that teal in this case going, we're going to add some bolder, brighter colors. This is a gorgeous green that's in the palette. We're going to keep going back and forth from color to color. And when it feels as if there's no movement on the paper, we're going to add that water again. The water will help it all blend together. So once we've added the water, see, not going anywhere. Now it's moving. Once we've added the water, I can see a little bit there on the left. I need more blue. It is a little bit static, and I don't want that, which again is why we work sections at a time. Just keep going back and forth between your colors and your water and your movement until you have something that you're really pleased with. So we're going to go down the rainbow now. I'll put a little music on and see what you think. Well, I guess I wasn't quiet for long, but I wanted to share with you my first challenge. And this challenge is not my fault. That's to come. But this challenge is simply whenever you're trying to add or blend green into orange, you tend to get brown. You can even see in the water dish there. Brown is what happens, and although that's a beautiful color, it's not what I'm going for. I want seamlessness. I want that beautiful orange blend. And in order to get it, especially in this case when I don't have a specific orange in the palette, you really need to edit your colors, work a little bit slowly, and go back and forth, blotting if needed, to get the color that you're going for. And you'll see me really come back to this time and again. When I don't like something, the beauty of it is it's watercolor. So water helps to get rid of any mistakes that you don't want. Although watercolor isn't always forgiving, when you don't let it dry, and again, you work a little bit at a time, you can see here it's starting to blend a little bit better. Gorgeous autumn color, but I want something beautiful, bold, and bright. So I'm going to keep going back and forth. I'm going to keep swinging that water left and right until I have something that I'm really happy with. And if in the end it dries and I don't love it, well, I just go back in, I add a little bit more of that green, perhaps build in a little yellow until I have an orange that I love. So now I'm going into the very prettiest pink ever. Okay, I have a few favorite pinks, but this is one of them, the pink in this palette. And I'll continue on now until we're at red. All right, our first rainbow layer has been laid down, and although I could stop here, I don't wanna. I wanna add a little bit of life, a little bit of shimmer. You can also do that with metallics or, of course, glitter. You know I love my glitter. But I wanna just add a little bit, and I'll blend it out with water. You don't want a shimmer blob, so to avoid that, just blend it a little bit with water as you go. And again, you'll see that I'm just doing tiny little sections. I'm going to then add a little gold and pink, and you see those little hints of shimmer. Now we're going to flip it over, and I've decided to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to go down the rainbow again, starting of course with purple. I don't happen to have purple in this set of Brea Reese watercolor inks that I've been collecting, so I'm going to make my own with blue and in this case pink. If I find that it doesn't have the quality of color that I want, then I'll just add a little bit of this or a little bit of that until I'm happy. And as you can see, I'm going to add water in the same way we did on the other side with the traditional watercolors. And look at that blue dance. I absolutely love these inks. So I'm going to continue on as we did before and create my rainbow. So there was the watercolor ink side all complete, and I have to say I love this version. I prefer it to the other side, but I want to add a little something extra, so I'm going to bring out my white gel pen and just do a little doodling. I'm going to start at the front of the piece of paper, in other words at the beginning, and then I'm going to add a little bit of doodling to the end as well, just to create a little something as you can see right there. And now comes my favorite part, math. Just kidding. I'm dividing it in half, the length of the piece of paper, that half again, and so on until I get an approximate size of the pages to come. But math and I are not friends. As a matter of fact, I promise you this is a true story. When I was in college, the only way I could get through a math class is by taking one called Math for Liberal Artists. They were amazing. They knew that some people like me have challenges with math, and so they would literally say things like, what color do you want the number to be? And I was like, oh, I can do this. I got pink. I want the number to be pink. And that's how I graduated college. Our folds are all complete, and I have a really cool little flap there that'll indicate the front cover. Now to the big mistake. The watercolor side, no problem. The watercolor ink side, tons of issues. As you can see, when folded together, they transferred. And I knew that that would continue to happen. So I needed to cover it up. And I didn't know what to do. But I decided to go with a white gesso. Now I know that it's going to give us a blended look and not exactly what I was originally going for. But the beauty of the white gesso is that it'll be easier for whomever is working on top of it. And it does give a really soft, ethereal look in the end. But it will not transfer once you've got the gesso on top. Of course, you could use clear gesso, but that would also be wet, so it would also move the ink below it. So I went with the white, and there you go, a cloudy rainbow. Now on to a little bit more doodling. This happens to be my favorite pen. It's a glittering ink. It's hard to see on camera, but the results in the end are something very special. Again, any shimmer will make the light dance off of it, so I'm going to go back and add doodles to the entire front cover and a little corner there in the back. Then I'm going to pull out a tag. I wanted to add something to the front cover, and this is a great way to use some of the tags that you may have on hand. So I'm going to take this little Tim Holtz tag with my glue stick, and I'm going to add it to the front of that little flap. Now we come to the part where I want to bind, even loosely, the journal in some way. And I saw the circle in that pre-existing tag, and I thought, that's it. I'm going to take the circle punch through the tag, through the watercolor paper, and in that way have a spot to pull through ribbon or fabric to tie it together. But here's another problem. It was being ornery. It didn't want to work. The craft tag through the watercolor paper, through the painted papers was just too much for that little hole punch to handle. So it created a really messy hole that I needed to cover up. Gratefully, I had some extra painted papers on hand, so I added a little bit to the front and the back of that flap to fix the hole, but also reinforce it. So it worked out well in the end. To tie it all together, I went with a strip of fabric. As a matter of fact, this happens to be from an old shower curtain, so you see nothing is safe. But I love how I can fray the edges a bit and give it a distressed quality, and I didn't even tie it in a bow, just a simple knot so that it can be easily opened and closed. And there we have it, the incredibly difficult for me, but hopefully fun and easy for you, accordion style art journal.
When I'm with you, I feel like I'm inside a rainbow. When I'm with you, I feel like I'm inside a rainbow. The days are dull and gray all the time when you're away, and the nights are as long as they are dark. I keep checking the time like it will make the tellers move faster, but they don't care how long I stare.